Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel of mprugs.com. My name is Mike Pana. I'm the moderator in the series of videos about Persian rugs and also the owner of mprugs.com. In this video, I'd like to introduce you to a type of Persian rug that you may have never seen of. This is a very unique Persian rug in the sense that it is neither a rug nor is it a Kelim. I made a videos recently about the Kelim rugs, and these are the types of, they almost look like sewn rugs. You have probably seen them. These are the ones without the pile. And in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a type of rug that is almost like a child, where one parent is a Kelim and the other parent is a traditional Persian rug. These rugs, known as Nimboft, are rugs where there is a wool pile as well as a Kelim. And when I get behind the camera and I zoom in, I'm going to show you how the rugs, what they look like and everything. It's really cool. It's actually, I really like them. It's not something that you typically see. And I always like things that are kind of unusual. And the Nimbaft rugs, it's almost unfortunately have become like a dying art. I'm not too sure if in 30, 40 years they're still going to be around. These are being made in the quasi-tribal regions, in the small villages, in the Sirjan area of Iran. If you look on Google Maps, if you central Iran, if you search for Sirjan, Sirjan, or the more popular Keshan, in the villages, a lot of the villages, they typically make these types of rugs. So this is not what we call a city rug. And here we have a small piece, and most of them, they tend to be smaller size pieces. Like in this case, this is a 1 meter by 1.5 meter, where you have the wool pile that is on top of the Kilim. So it gives it a three-dimensional look. But the reason why most of them are smaller pieces is because these are typically made at homes. This is something that while the men are at work, the wives stay home, and they weave these types of rugs in their basements, or they have a little room in the back. So generally speaking, and this is why you find most of them in the smaller size. The large piece, like the one that I'm sitting on, this is a 10 foot by 13 foot. This is a 3 meter by 4 meter. It's really rare to actually find them in this large size. But for the video purposes, this is a perfect piece right here. So I can get behind the camera as I always do. I'll show you the intricate artwork. And again, what's really cool about this rug, and what I really like about the Nimboft, is that they are not what you would expect to see and feel when you look at a Persian rug. Most Persian rugs are either Kelims or they are the standard Persian rugs. I'm going to show you both. And if the two were to have a child, this is it right here. You have a rug that has both qualities. Really beautiful, really, really interesting. So I'm going to see you again. As I always do, I'm going to get behind the camera here, and then I'll show you all the details. So here we are, as I mentioned to you, with the Nimboft rugs. What is really cool about them is when here you have the wool pile, and then here next to it you have the Kelim. So you can actually see the different types. It's like having a rug that is made up of two different rugs. In one of my previous videos, I introduced you to the Kelims, and this is a Persian Kelim. Here you have a rug that is almost like stitched, but it is a rug, and you can see it on the back of it. This is what a traditional Kelim looks like, and there is virtually no pile. So it's almost like stitching. This is very popular with my clients, as I mentioned in the videos, who like to have these rugs. You can either hang them on walls, or they'll literally become like decor items in a home. Next to it, you have, imagine a traditional Persian rug. And I just simply grabbed the first one in the pile of rugs that we had. This is a traditional Persian rug. Wool pile, a traditional Kelim it has the way the stitching and the backing. This is traditional Kelim. This is traditional Persian rug. Nothing out of the ordinary. Well, imagine if the two of them had a baby. That's the best way for me to put it. You have a Kelim meet Persian rug, they fall in love, and they have a baby. The baby would be called Nimboft. You have the Kelim, and you have the wool. The wool, as you can see it right here, and I'm just going to go with the edge of the rug. You can see the wool right here. The same thing here. This is a nice firm wool pile. Then you have it again here, the wool in this particular piece, and this is what a very traditional Nimboft is all about. And in case you are curious, the word Nimboft means single weave. Nim, which is another word for one, boft means weave. When you put the two together, you have what is known as a single weave. So, and if you look on the back of it, you notice you have the knots that you would typically find in a Persian rug. Very common. This is traditional. Then you have the backing just like a Kilim. Then you have again the knots just like you would see in a Persian rug, followed by Kelim. So when you look on the back of the rug, you can tell which parts of it have the wool pile and which parts don't, just by looking at the knots and the way it is worked. You notice this right here, it's all Kelim. You can see it from just the way it looks, and then you see the wool pile. This is classic for the Nimboft. And then at the end, you notice the fringes. This is also something that's classic. And basically what they have done is they have taken the standard fringes, made them, they just left them long, about 10 centimeters. And then they basically got little dreadlocks going on here. And so it's really nice. This right here is a classic large Nimboft. This right here is a classic smaller piece, and you notice the similarities, the tile patterns, very similar. And then again, on the smaller ones, the amount of wool versus Kelim, that can vary depending on the type of rug. For example, in the smaller piece right here, you have the wool around the outside and the very middle of the design, whereas the rest of it is all basically Kelim. And again, if you flip this over, you can see the same thing again. You have knots. So in this case, you have the base here, this part, this brownish, this is the rug. It has a rug pile, and you can see it in the back. and then you can see where everywhere where there is a Kelim. So it's a really neat thing. Now, having said that, you know, if you watch my other videos, I don't shy away from giving my opinions. These are really, I think they're special rugs. Great for individuals who appreciate Persian rugs and who like to have different types. This is not something, for example, I'm just going to use this large piece as an example. If you are going to be placing it in a dining room, in an area where there's lots of chairs, the wool and Kelim combo not going to work for you. I would not recommend it. I would hate to see the rug being damaged. I also would hate to see you literally falling back, especially if you're sitting on a chair, because if the legs of the chairs get stuck literally here and somebody's tilting the chairs back, if you got kids sitting on the chairs, yeah, that's just an accident waiting to happen. But if you have an open room, let's say you're going to put a glass table on top and everything, this would be absolutely stunning. So it's a really nice rug. I wanted to introduce this to you because, again, this is such a unique type of Persian rug that chances are you may not have seen them in person. And even if sometimes you do find them in rug stores, it's for some reason, the Persian rug dealers, they tend to look down upon these types of rugs. They are not really keen about selling you a Kilim when they can sell you a Persian rug for twice the amount of money. I'm just going to flip it over here. It's the same thing. You can buy 3 or 4 Kilims for the price of this older piece. And so they typically, you know, and they'll say, well, it's a Kelim, it's not a real rug. And you hear all kinds of stories. Well, the bottom line is the Kelims have been around for centuries. Rugs have been around for centuries. There are 2 different types of flooring. There are 2 different products. I'm not going to sit here and argue about which is better. They're just different. Here you have a product that has taken the 2, combined it into one, and that makes them, in my opinion, very unique. When you look at Nimboft and look at the way it is spelled, when you Google it, you can see all kinds. Again, the smaller pieces, very classic, much more common. Larger pieces tend to be rarer, because it's harder to make for the folks in their homes to make these types of rugs. So I hope you liked my little video on the Nimboft rugs. If you like more information, there's a little bit of it about them on my website at mprugs.com. But like I said, feel free to look at my other videos. If you have any other questions, as always, subscribe or leave me questions or comments, or just email them to me. And I look forward to always reading them. So thanks again for watching, and best wishes. We'll talk to you soon. We'll bring you more videos as soon as we can. Take care. Bye-bye.